Well, miraculous news. Even though we've been talking about it on all of my social media platforms for the last 5 months, today, miraculously, Urban Nation decides, hey, you know what? Rents are down in the GTA. They're not up. They're no, they're not up anymore. They're going down. It's always amazing when extremely expensive consultants discover something that people who actually do the work day in and day out, talk to real people with real problems day in, day out. The consultants suddenly discover it, and it's like amazing news. But we knew about it all the time. So, rent. So, what rent are we talking about? We're talking about rent for new units. New units in the GTA, new units throughout, mostly throughout all of Southern Ontario. Those rents for new units, like what you have to accept from your tenants, what a landlord has to live with to get the unit rented, is down. That's in central Toronto, it's down about, well, they think 1.5%. I guarantee you it's more. And the rest of the GTA, they're thinking it's down over 7%. So everybody says the same thing. How is this possible? Everybody I talk to every day, every person I talk to in our business and outside of our business says the same thing. How is this possible? There is a housing shortage. And there is, by the way. But why would rents be down if there's a housing shortage? If there's this huge influx of new immigrants we've observed over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, like maybe a million, 2 million, 3 have come to Southern Ontario in just the last 3 years. The numbers, it's astronomically large numbers. So why would rents fall? Because, well, first of all, a bunch of those people who arrived in Canada in the last 2 years are international students. And international students, regrettably, sadly, really sadly, get stacked up like cordwood in rooming houses and people's homes, and 4 people in a tiny suite in a student housing in Kitchener-Waterloo, or stacked up like 15 people sleeping all over a house in some sections of the GTA. Like, they can't afford $2,600 a month for a condo. I mean, it's ridiculous. They don't. Years ago they did. Years ago they were all, almost huge numbers of them were from China, from affluent parents who came here to Toronto to go to university. That has changed. It's now a lot of people going to community colleges who are not wealthy, whose families scraped up the last dime to come here. They can't pay $2,600 a month. So that's your answer. Why? Why are rents falling? Because unemployment and a bad economy is surging. Well, they'll muffle some of these numbers down, but when you finally see some of the numbers of unemployment coming out of the GTA, people will be shocked. People will be shocked. By the end of the year, everybody will agree, wow, things are bad. So what happens? People can't afford, if you're unemployed, you can't afford to pay the rent. You have a couple of choices. You have multiple choice. Let's run it down. You can move back in with mom and dad. Sometimes that's not possible. But by the way, if you're unemployed and you got a $2,600 a month payment on a condo, you go back with mom and dad if you can. If you can't, you might move in with somebody else. You might find a roommate. You might find 2 roommates. You might go to somebody else's place, give up your place, and be a roommate somewhere else. You might, the worst possible option, you might couch surf because you're unemployed. So what exactly are you going to do? Maybe the worst possible outcome is you just stop paying rent and get into a fight with the landlord through the landlord and tenant board, which is going to probably let you stay in your unit paying $0 for a year. That's another horrible, horrible story. But it's the simple truth. Unemployment drives far more disasters than any kind of increase in rate. And that's some of the things we're experiencing right now. Because people just assume, well, if there's a crunch for housing, then everybody's going to find a way to pay rent. No, that is not true. There is an upper limit. You hit it, you hit a wall. It's over. I can't pay this. I'm not going to pay. I got to figure out another way. I got to move. I got to leave Ontario. I got to find someplace that's cheaper to live. All of those other things we listed happen. at the end of the day, people can't pay rent they don't have. So there is an ultimate point where it all dies. And we've reached that point. By the way, this just feeds into the narrative that we're going to be watching for the next 12 to 18 months of essentially a kind of a 416 GTA condo apocalypse. Prices are falling. There's another record hit. 7 months of inventory in condos. Like 7 months? Holy doodle. Condos are, people want to sell the condos and people ain't buying. That's very clear. And hey, 20,000 new units, new completions, new construction completions coming on stream in the next 18 months. Like, it is a recipe for disaster. Because at the end of the day, if you bought a condo 5 years ago and you were paying $1,200 a foot, and today all that anybody can sell something for is $925 a foot, problems, like real problems. Okay, how bad does it get? I think bad. But I don't really know what the final answer will be. There's two possibilities, really. Government intervention, which I hope and pray will never happen. I'm completely opposed. It's crazy. It's a mispricing problem that no government should interfere with. It's a wrong price of property that no government should be involved in. Or prices fall eventually, fairly substantially. In 1990, prices in condos fell an average of 36% over the course of 3 years. That's reality. So what's going to happen? One of those two things. My bet is valuation decline on tiny condos soon.